We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through another act. There's always things to look forward to each act, but we also have to remember that there are a few things in game that Riot has promised us that they haven't gotten to yet. What is going on, Pro Guides family? It is your host, Sergeant Frost. And since Act 3 is just around the corner, we're going to talk briefly about what we can expect and what we're still waiting on too. And while we're on the topic of Act 3, if you want to get a head start going into the final act of the episode, we here at Pro Guides can help. On our website, ProGuides.com, we have Radiant and Immortal level coaches who are online 24/7, and they are ready to take you to the next level. Just click the link in the description of this video to get started. And now let's head right into the video. For this past act, we have been getting teasers about the supposed new agent coming in Act 3, codenamed Deadeye. Just yesterday on social media, Riot released a short teaser that shows a gold circle associated with his character background in some kind of way, and there were leaks before that for an icon. For those of you who aren't up to speed with all the stuff surrounding Deadeye, let's run it down really quickly. First off, Deadeye was teased in the Year 1 celebration video back in June. All we saw was a still image of him on a poster in the Year 1 video that Riot posted on YouTube. We haven't heard much from the devs in terms of gameplay on this new agent, but it has been rumored that his agent class will be Sentinel, and he has something to do with snipers. We also have an idea that he's French with how his accent sounds in the Fracture map reveal video.
Incredible that something so small can create such opportunity.
And there's also another sort of reveal of his face in the Last Chance qualifier teaser of the Brazilian Valorant page. Since there's so many teasers related to his character in recent media, it seems pretty likely that he's coming out this coming act, especially since we didn't get an agent release in Act 2. A quick note about Jett: for some of you who are recently made aware about Jett's bug with her dash, just know that it's already been fixed, so you don't need to worry about that. Riot fixed her in a recent hotfix, so there's no issues with Jett currently. Next up on our list, let's talk about something that's been promised since April, that still isn't here yet either. And people keep bugging us about how he's placed so low on our tier list. Earlier this year, Riot attempted to rework both Viper and Yoru in the same update. Viper's changes were a hit and made her into a powerhouse agent in the meta. However, Yoru didn't reach quite the same heights. Riot kind of did a half-hearted rework for him and only changed around some of the numbers on his abilities and called it a day. Unfortunately, Yoru seems to have more fundamental problems in his kit that need changes than just a numbers tweak in order to make him a viable agent. So, shortly after seeing Yoru's first reworks were a complete failure, Riot said that they would be giving him a proper complete rework. The only problem is, they told us that back in April, and next week starts November, so... We know that in the patch 3.03 notes this episode, Riot said that the Yoru rework ran into some problems, and that they would need to delay it indefinitely, with no clear timetable for its release in mind. That was around August of this year, so let's hope that we see his rework sometime in Act 3, or at least get some good news on a hard release date so we can get hyped up for Yoru's return. Right now, the game's duelist meta is a bit stale, as there are some clear favorites for duelist picks. A Yoru rework can freshen up the class a bit, as we hope that Yoru's new changes are impactful enough to move him up from being the worst agent in the game to something that can compete with the Reynas and Jetts. Well, I guess right now all we can do is wait and see. You guys remember the supposed Omen changes that were leaked a couple weeks back? None of these changes were confirmed officially or from a direct Riot source themselves, so we can only ponder if these changes are real or if we will ever even see them. Two of the proposed changes seem big, so let's quickly mention them for anyone who didn't see the leaks online. The first change proposed was that Omen's blind no longer blinds his teammates when used. This would be huge for Omen because one of the main weaknesses of his blind, especially when attacking, is that his blind's cone of effectiveness was so wide that it could accidentally clip his teammates and would screw them over. This takes away a major downside to his blind, which allows him to freely use his blind without hesitation. The second leak change that appeared with this one is that when you commit to Omen's ultimate TP, enemies around you will get blinded. This right here is a meta-defining change, because if this goes through, Omen will have a lot more priority in the meta. Imagine the executes when attacking. Your teammates walk close up and then your Omen can either secure a flank or teleport into the center of all the action in a smoke or something or become an AoE blind. That seems really strong, and it will make outplaying enemy teams really powerful. If these changes did go through, that could be a new lease on life for Omen. Right now, Omen is struggling a bit in the meta as a controller. Viper and Astra are basically always a better pick than Omen in any given situation. This has relegated him to third place now for controllers. As it stands right now, Omen doesn't have a lot in his kit that makes him uniquely strong for certain situations, so hopefully some of these changes are actually coming in. Before we move on, let's get to our question of the day. Today's question is, what do you hope to see in Act 3? Personally, I really hope we get more of a dynamic store system that lets us go back to buy bundles from the past. The current store system is archaic and it makes you feel like you need to buy every bundle so you won't miss out in the future. And personally, I don't think that is a consumer-friendly business practice from the devs at Riot. So I hope that gets changed in the future. Let us know what you hope to see changed in the comment section down below. Now, let's get right back into the video. This next feature we're going to talk about is something that was promised to us before episode 3 even started back in May. And all we've heard is radio silence from the devs on when it's being implemented. And what I'm talking about is an in-client tournament mode. Riot teased this in the client feature quite a while ago and hyped it up, to get the community excited about team play and possible rewards that the tournament mode could bring. Hopefully this tournament mode comes in Act 3 because it would be one of my most anticipated things I've been looking forward to this entire episode. I have a group of friends that would love to play casual tournaments on the weekends for cool prizes, and this tournament mode would be a great way to do so. If Riot finds a way to include meaningful cool prizes for these tournaments, like Riot Points, Gun Buddies, or even skins, I can see this mode becoming wildly popular within the community. Unfortunately, we still haven't gotten any updates on the whereabouts of this mode, so I'm really hoping it makes a debut in Act 3. Plus, we haven't had any new cool game modes lately, so this will be a fresh addition to the game. I think many of us have been hammering Riot for this change, and I wish they would just release an in-client replay system. Let's be honest, this feature should have shipped with the game when it launched back early last year, but unfortunately we are still currently without it, and we have no idea when it will ever come. So why is this mode so important to the community? For all competitive players or players who want to review their own gameplay to learn, a replay demo system will allow us to record gameplay without having to sacrifice any system performance. And it should allow us to store the replays in client or in a setup folder on our desktops to find them in. This is something that most competitive games include, especially the likes of CSGO and Overwatch, and even Riot's League of Legends have had these replay features for years now. Personally, as a content creator, I would love to record back my game so that I can find my clips and highlights easily for when I want to make YouTube highlights. And as a competitive player, it is imperative that my team have a way to record our scrims and tournament matches so that we can review them as a team later. Also, a replay mode is inherently better than just screen recording because of two reasons. First, like we said earlier, an in-client mode should be less taxing performance-wise on your system compared to if you were recording through OBS, or if you just saved your stream bot from Twitch. The second reason is because an in-client replay system can let you go into a third-person free camera, which allows you to have a much better perspective on what's going on in the match, or allow you to change perspectives. This especially helps out esports players because it allows you to study the enemy team in more detail, as you can see their map movements and positioning in relation to you. Another thing to note is that this would be great for watching other players and how they play. And also it gives content creators more options for cinematic effects. Please Riot, just give us a replay system already. Well guys, that's all we have for the changes that we may or may not see in Act 3. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to visit our website ProGuides.com for the very best courses and top ranked coaches. This has been your host Sergeant Frost, and I will see you all again in the next one.